Welcome back to my channel. I realize it's the same shirt I had on in the intro for the last video, but it's like a week later. I'm really in my pajamas, but I just put this shirt on so that it looked better. Anyways, so Michael's in this video today, and he actually hasn't really seen like the assumptions and stuff like that, but as you can tell by the title, we are answering people's assumptions about Christians or Christianity and faith in general and stuff like that. People's like assumptions or like stereotypes that they've kind of seen or things like that. And also I had Christians send me stuff as well, like what they've experienced or people have assumed about them. So it's kind of like a touchy video to film. Well, it's not kind of, it is. It's like I definitely don't want to like hurt anybody's feelings, but I also think like it's a really good way to like clear things up, because I feel like in any group of people, like whether it be a political party or a gender or a race or a religion or anything like that, I feel like the party or whatever it is, like that group of people is always very misrepresented. Like it's always these crazy people who are like the image of whatever it may be. I mean, even homeschoolers, like you think weird kid, like, do you know what I mean? It's just, I feel like people are so misrepresented, and I don't want like people to think Christian and think hate and judgment and things like that, because that's not what it is at all. And like, could you stop? And a lot of the assumptions, like they were all like negative, which is really sad, because that's not, like, I know for me personally, like us and like a lot of people that I know, like that's not what our faith is at all, and biblically like that's not what faith is either. So Michael has been a Christian for almost 3 years. Like,
well, I've always been a Christian, I just didn't fully understand.
He grew up like he went to church on holidays every once in a while, thing like that. We definitely like his family was Christians, but it's definitely wasn't like lived out day to day, if that makes sense. It wasn't a priority, I guess, but like 3 years ago is when he made the decision to like for himself like give his life to Christ and stuff like that. So he's like a baby Christian, if that makes sense, like still learning a lot and things like that. So I wanted him to be in it because I grew up in the church, I went to Christian school, things like that. So it's very, I feel like some of our answers may be very similar, and then some of them may be like polar opposites, but our answers may be different, if that makes sense, but like the root is the same. Like, does that make sense? It's hard to explain, but I just wanted, I don't know, let's just get into it. So the first assumption is that Christians are judgmental, hypocrites, and condescending.
That's not Christians, just people.
I know people who are not Christians that are
Yeah.
judgmental and hypocrites and condescending.
Yeah.
Which, that's like really sad that was one of the biggest, like I got so many of those. Like it was the number one like assumption, is that Christians are judgmental and hypocrites and condescending, which I can definitely see that, because like the people that are kind of like have a big platform and like claim to be Christians are very like always pointing out other people's faults and things like that when not recognizing their own, or being like, oh, you do this, I can't hang out with you, or you believe this, so I can't hang out with you, or you don't have enough, like, so there's people who are like, you don't go to the same church as me, we can't hang out, you're not the same denomination, we can't hang out, when literally Jesus hung out with like criminals and things like that. Like he was not with the Pharisees and the high people of the church. Like he didn't even like those people. If you like really look at who he hung out with, it was like the people that I feel like now would be like turned away from the church or like stared at. And the whole thing, like Jesus says, like come as you are, and a lot of people, it's sad, like but they're not, like they claim to be like come as you are, But when it comes down to it, like, they're like, come as you are, but fix yourself first. And there are a lot of people like that, but I can say for me, I try my best to not be judgmental or a hypocrite or condescending, which, I mean, everybody is, though, but I can, like, it's not a Christianity thing. I think that's a
personal
human thing.
Yeah.
Another one was that Christians are not accepting.
You go.
You have thoughts?
Like, obviously we are, like, we're supposed to accept everyone, no matter what your religion, no matter who you are, what race, gender,
Yeah.
anything. Torrin Wells, he's a singer, Christian singer, but
He's also a preacher.
and a preacher, yeah. But he said in one of his sermons one time, he said that he had no problem being surrounded by non-believers, because that's his mission, to bring people closer to Christ. So he has no problem of taking the criticism for that and not being accepted, but being able to bring.
Yeah, because people, like, kind of came at him and said he wasn't a Christian because he was hanging out with, like, artists who weren't Christians and listening to non-Christian music and stuff like that.
They went to
It was like the Grammys.
the Grammys or something, and they were like, if you could meet one person, who would you want to meet? And he was like, Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, one of his his drummer or guitarist said Kanye, and they were like, Kanye.
And then Torrin Wells said somebody else. Then the next day in the news, it was like, Torrin Wells is not a Christian, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like,
Not
those
that
people,
Kanye's not a Christian, but.
But he was like, I don't remember, it was another rapper or something that he said. But, like, those people are not accepting and judgmental
Because
and stuff like that, but
he was
the people who wrote the article.
Yeah, they were like, he's not a Christian because Kanye sings about, like, drugs and money and sex and all this stuff, but.
Another one is that Christians have boring lives.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it depends on, like, what your view of boring and fun are, but I feel like that's not a religion thing either. I think that's just a preference.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm boring because I don't do anything, but it has nothing to do with my faith. I'm just a boring person. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I could go out and have fun, or stay home and have fun, but, like, definitions of fun are different. Like, we play board games every day. I think that's fun, because I'm a homebody. I don't really like to go out, but that's not because of my faith. That's because...
Your personal preference.
Yeah, I just like to be home. And my idea of fun to going out was, like, shopping or something. I don't I wouldn't enjoy going dancing at the club because that's too many people, and I'm, like, more introverted, and that's just not something I would enjoy. But that's not because of my faith, and it's not because I can't go out and dance and things like that. It's just not something that I personally enjoy. But I know people who are not Christians, and they're pretty boring. And I know really fun Christians too that I can't even keep up with because they do fun stuff all the time, and I'm just like, I'm too old for that. Another one is that Christians are racist. There are racist Christians, and there are
Racist non-Christians.
Yeah. There's, like, people who claim to be Christians and then they're racist, and number one, makes absolutely no sense. And those same people, I don't think Jesus was not white. And for some reason people in their, like, have this picture of a white Jesus in their head. He was not white.
Middle Eastern.
Yeah, like, everyone has this picture in their head of, like, this white Jesus and all this kinds of stuff. Like, did they not pay attention, like, where all that stuff took place, like, in the Middle East? Like, Jesus was not white, and I don't know who got the idea that white is better. Like, that makes no sense, but there are a lot of racist Christians, and there's a lot of racist non-Christians. That's another thing, where it's just, like, assumed, oh, you're a Christian, you're racist. I'm not. My Jesus is not white, and Jesus was not white, so I feel... It's kind of funny, like, those people who are racist are over here, like, you know...
white supremacy
kind of thing like that. And I'm like, Jesus wasn't even white. Like, that's just one thing, but yeah. That Christians do not believe in evolution. I don't believe in evolution. I believe in, like, I forgot what it's called, creation, like the creation story and stuff like that.
Creationalism? Maybe?
No.
I don't know.
But Michael in science at his school, he went to public school, so his science was evolution based. But I went to private school, like Christian school, and all of my science was creation based, like based off like the creation, Genesis, things like that. Not that, but like I'm a huge science person, so I mean that's one thing. Yeah, I feel like most Christians don't believe in evolution, but the whole like Big Bang thing, you know, Jesus spoke and said, "Let there be light," and I feel like the world would, when he said let there be light, I feel like there was a Big Bang. Like, if that makes sense, like not invalidating the theory of evolution and stuff like that. I feel like once you have like a strong understanding of like creation, like how it's told in the Bible, and I didn't really enjoy science and things like that, so it's like I've learned about evolution and things like that. But of course, I don't agree with everything. Like, I don't believe the world is billions of years old. And other people do, and that's the thing. Like, that's okay if you believe that. Like, I don't really... It's not like I'm like, oh, you believe in evolution, I cannot be friends with you. You believe in evolution, I don't. Guess what? We can still be friends. We can even talk about it. Like, just have healthy conversation about it. Like, that's not a big deal. Like, we're not all called to look the same and think the same and be the same. Like, that's not who we are. It's not how God created us to be. But as a Christian, I do believe in like creation. I cannot remember what it's called, pregnancy brain, but no, I do not believe in evolution. And I will say that's a pretty accurate assumption of Christians, is that most of them do not believe in evolution.
I was gonna look it up.
The next one is that Christians are sexist. I have encountered sexist Christians. I've also encountered sexist non-Christians, but that's another thing. I don't think it's stuck to just one group of people, but I feel like sexism is a problem. A lot of like men are superior kind of thing like that, and a lot of kind of like the Westboro Baptist people, those are like this very, very small group of people who like claim to be Christians, and they like get in the spotlight in the media, and they're like, most Christians like do not want to associate with them at all. But people like, they're very racist, sexist, homophobic, things like that. And so I feel like that's where a lot of people get those assumptions. But I know that like there are people who have like, I've like definitely seen like relationships or things like that where even in like Christian relationships where they're like sexism is definitely a problem, whether it be like a relationship or like a friendship relationship or just like a church relationship, and that's something that really bothers me. Like, but it's definitely not a Christianity thing. It's just one of those things. Like, there's sexist people who are Christians and sexist people who are not, but we're not sexist. We're definitely like equalist. Like, that's one thing for me. Like, I'm like really big for standing up for women's rights and stuff like that. And so like there's been churches that have said like things about women that I didn't agree with, and so then obviously you're not going to want to attend that church. But that's the great thing, there's a bunch of different churches with the same common, like all the churches, well, should be all churches who claim to be of like the Christian faith, is we believe, you know, that Jesus died for our sins, rose again in 3 days, created the world. Like there's those basic things that you all agree on, and then there's other stuff where it's just like people have different views, and that's okay. But like there's certain things that are deal breakers for me. But That's why every church is different, and that's okay, I think. Another one is that all Christians are Republicans, like conservatives and stuff.
Nope.
No, I know Christian Democrats. I know Christian Libertarians. I know Republicans who are not Christians. It's one of those things, like, it's one of those things where a big group of people is being grouped into another group of people. No. I know, like I said, I know Christians who are Republicans, who are Democrats, who are third party, anything like that. I don't think that your religion has to do, I say religion, but it's really, I don't like the word religion, I like relationship, because Christianity as a religion is like so messed up. That's like, Christians don't even want to associate with that. Like, that's the whole thing with these assumptions. I have a personal relationship with Jesus. And like, I don't go off of religion. I have a relationship with Jesus. And so that's why it's like one of those things where, like I was saying, like religion is associated with political parties and things like that. And it's just, I wouldn't want to be associated with any of those because they're all very misrepresented, and the people who are representing those parties of people, like, I wouldn't want to be associated with. That all Christians are homophobic. I'm not homophobic.
Nope.
That's the thing. I know that's one thing, like I was saying, again, like the Westboro Baptist people, like, they'll have signs like, oh, you're going to hell, you're gay, blah, 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 blah. I have gay friends. I have gay family members, and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all I've been called to do is love my neighbor and show them the love of Jesus. I've not been called to judge. I'm not the judge. That's Jesus. Like, whatever it is, like, that's not my place. Like, like, people are like, oh, you're going to hell because you're gay. Well, guess what? You're judging, you're sinning, so, like, I'm not saying that being gay is a sin, or being gay is not a sin, or that it's right, or that it's wrong. Like, I don't think I'll ever have a clear, like, look on that. Like, I'll never, like, I don't know. Like, but that's not my job to find out if it's right or wrong. My job is to love people, and so that's what I do. Like, I don't care if you're gay. It's just, like, people lie. We're not supposed to do that, but we do. People judge. We're not supposed to do that, but we do. You're not supposed to have sex before you're married, but people do that. You're not supposed to get drunk, but people do that. Like, not that you can't drink, that's another assumption, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to take care of yourself, and there's all these things that you're supposed to do. And, like, a lot of times those people who are, like, judging people for being gay or whatever are the same people, like, going home and having, like, sex out of marriage. So, like, that's the thing. And why are you and people get so, like, worked up over it, and, like, gay people shouldn't be on TV, they shouldn't hold hands, blah, blah, blah. Like, what is your problem that bothers you so bad? And why are you so, like, obsessed with who's kissing who and who's, like, sleeping with who? Like, that just makes you look weird. Like, I don't care what you do with other people. Like, that's none of my business. Just like I don't care what religion you are, or what political party you are, or, like, what your sexual orientation is, or sexual preference. Like, I don't care. Like, that's none of my business. Just be a nice human. That's all. And that's all I care about. Like, I really don't care what you do. I mean, don't murder people, you know? That's common sense, I feel like. And just be a decent human. And what other people do is really none of your business. We're just supposed to love. That's what I've been called to do, is to love other people and show them God's love. So that's what I do. Like, that's all there really is to it. And it makes me really sad because I know a lot of people who, who are gay, who have been really, really hurt by the church. And that makes me so sad. Because, like, that's not what Jesus' love is at all. Like, or what Jesus would do. Like, I feel like Jesus would be, like, really upset with a lot of what's going on, like, in the church, like, today. But I have friends who are gay, and they're Christians. Like, so, no, not all Christians are homophobic, clearly. All Christians are weird.
It's a personal preference again.
If you're weird, you're weird. It doesn't really matter. You're like...
You're weird.
Yeah, you're just weird. I'm weird, but that's not because I'm a Christian. I'm just weird. That's all there is to it. If you don't go to church on Sundays, then you're not a Christian.
Wrong.
That's like one that like a lot of people, some of my friends who are Christians have received, or then like people assume they're like, oh, you don't go to church enough, you're not a real Christian. Like,
There's a guy that I work with, Dan.
Probably don't say his name.
Huh? No.
Don't say people's names.
But he loves to ride his motorcycle, and every time he rides his motorcycle, he's going to church. He said that's his time with God. It doesn't have to be in a pew or on your knees praying or anything, but that's just his time. That's his church.
I know like a lot of people's schedule don't allow them to go to church sometimes, and some people just like can't make it, whether they can't get out of the house or anything like that. And some people, like, I know people like who have really bad anxiety, like going to church really stresses them out. But like, as long as you're spending time with God and growing in your faith, like you can watch sermons from home, things like that. Obviously, like, the best option would be to go to church so that you can grow with other people and like make those friendships. Because why are you bouncing? Because like God's really big on us like having relationships and friendships. Like, God did not call us to do this life alone. Like, he's very big on friendships and relationships and like growing with other people. And so like obviously that's like an important thing, but it doesn't mean you're not a Christian if you don't go to church on Sundays or if you don't go to church. Like, life happens and you have to like do what's best for you and your family. But I mean, we don't go to church every Sunday.
Yeah, we haven't been.
Like, to be honest, we haven't been to church in like 2 months because we can't, like, our schedule has not allowed it.
Yeah.
But we watch sermons at home and like we do what we can, you know, to still grow. Women cannot be in leadership. This is not a Christianity thing, but I will say denomination to denomination have different beliefs about it. There are some denominations where a woman can be in any role of leadership. There's some where they can only be so high up, and then there's others where like they can't be in leadership at all. And that, like, that's not a Christianity thing. It's just that there's different denominations that believe different things. I think personally that a woman can be in a role of leadership. I don't see a problem with that, but other people do. So that's not something I can like say there's a clear thing here, here, and here that women can do this but they can't do this, kind of thing like that. That's just like one of those things where like you wish you had a clear answer but you don't. That's just something that like you have to make a decision on. But Ocean's so cute. I don't want to speak for Michael. I do not have a problem with women in leadership.
I don't either.
And because that's something I asked my pastor when I was like 7. I was like, can women be preachers? Because I've heard that they can't be, and I've heard that they can't, and all this kind of stuff. And like, that was really big for me because I'm very like girl power kind of thing like that. And it just, I didn't want to be at a place where they thought that women couldn't be in leadership and stuff like that. But I talked to my pastor and everything like that, and the next Sunday I preached my first sermon. So that tells you how that conversation went. But, excuse me. Michael, we have one question left. And the last one, well, not question, assumption, is that you cannot drink or smoke. I mean, I wouldn't recommend smoking because it's bad for your lungs, but to my knowledge, there's nothing in the Bible that says don't smoke cigarettes. I don't even think they were a thing. They definitely weren't. I know Christians that smoke, but like, for your health, I would not recommend it, but, and Jesus drank wine. Like, you're not supposed to get like blackout drunk, but Christians can drink. That's also another thing. There are denominations though who think that you can't. So that's like one of those things. That's why I kind of wanted to do this video, because not everybody has the same opinion on everything, even when you are of like the same faith, kind of thing like that. But I think it's okay to drink. responsibly.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with it. It's just one of those things, like, everybody's gonna have different views about it, but like I said, it's totally okay to have different views. Just respect everybody. It's like the only thing. Just respect everybody, love everybody, and like let people see Jesus through you. And seeing Jesus through you looks like love. Like, the greatest of these is love. Like, that's the biggest thing that people miss. Like, just love one another. It doesn't matter what they look like. You know, we're called to love our neighbor. And that means our gay neighbor, our black neighbor, our white neighbor, our Muslim neighbor, our trans neighbor, like anybody. Just love people. That's all we're called to do. And keep your hateful comments to yourself, because that's not very Jesus-like. We're not supposed to hate people. That's also a commandment from Jesus. But like I said, I know there's people who are not going to agree with it. And that's the whole point. Not every Christian agrees on everything. So that's why I don't want, like, people to say, like, they hear something like, oh, all Christians believe that. Because that's probably not the case. And I want to apologize, like, as a Christian, to anybody who, like, has been hurt by a Christian or been, like, hurt by the church. I am a Christian, and I've been hurt by Christians, and I've been hurt by the church. And it's really sad. Church hurt is very real. And it's kind of sucks more than some other hurt, because, like, you feel like church is your safe place, and then to be church hurt is, like, it sucks. But yeah, I love everybody. I don't care anything about, I mean, I care about you, but you know what I mean. Like, nothing you have done or believe or anything like that will make me not like you or make me not love you. Like, I'm down for being friends with anybody, and just, yeah, we're not supposed to be the same, and that's okay. But yeah, so I hope this wasn't, like, too over the place, or that I didn't hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. But it was just something that I wanted to film. And also, I got the video idea from Milena Ciciotti. I saw her do this video a while ago, and I really liked it. So I'll link her video below. But yes, thank you for watching. It was a long one, and see you soon with a new video. Also, subscribe to our vlog channel. Little self promo. And baby girl will be here very soon. So, okay, bye.